Hello, it's Mr. Fraley again, and we are going to do a video reviewing the material in the week going from January 5th to January 8th, when we talked about circles. Yes. Circles are these cool guys. You may have seen them before, but there are a few important terms you may not be familiar with. The distance around a circle. Let's say if this was a track and you were to run around the outside. The distance of the outside is called the circumference. The circumference is the distance around our circle. Okay? So that's the distance around. Okay. And another important term, what we call the diameter. Radius later. Diameter. The diameter is the distance across our circle. That's if you ran across our track. The diameter. That is the distance around. The distance across, I'm sorry. Think about the last one. The distance across our circle. Okay? Two important terms. Circumference, distance around. Diameter is the distance across. So if I ask for what the diameter is, I'm asking about that line. If I want to know about the circumference, I'm asking about this line. Now, we're going to learn about a very special number. It's a number called pi. It's usually you'd think you've learned all different ways to write numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, this is a number. We give a very special name. Just how useful it is. And it's called pi. Just written as pi, not PIE, but pi. And it is, and I can only say approximate. Well, I can say equal, but I simply say it is the circumference, this marker, it's the circumference divided by the diameter. All circles pretty much look the same, don't they? They just look kind of like they're smaller or bigger. They don't change or vary the way a triangle or a rectangle might. They're more like squares. Every square pretty much looks the same, just bigger or smaller. Every circle looks the same, just bigger or smaller. And that similarity that we see between all circles can be shown mathematically by dividing the distance around by the distance across. And you'll always get this same number. Pi is equal, well, I can say pi is approximately, because I can never write all of pi. 3.14159. It just keeps going and going. So 3.14159 doesn't show us clearly on the screen. I need better markers to show up on camera better. 3.14159. If you have a calculator, you may see a pi button on the calculator. If you just tap it, you'll have a value of pi. And it is a specific number. You can find it on the number line, somewhere between 3 and 4, closer to 3 though, and it's this one, right? I could never say the whole thing because it goes on forever. That's not to say that it's infinitely large. It is a small number. It is less than 4. It's less than 3.5, but it's about 3.14159. I could keep saying the digits forever, and I'd never be saying the whole thing. I don't want to get hooked up on that because I know that's sort of an intimidating idea. Just know that if you want to estimate, if you want to get good enough for your calculations, you're fine just simply using 3.14. That's good enough. Now, I want you to be looking at the Finding Circumference assignment that we did in class. If you missed class this week, you will find it in Schoology, in our Schoology course, and it's an assignment just called Finding Circumference. Open that assignment up and scroll to the last page. If you're late handing this in, just only worry about that last page. It's a bunch of practice problems. So, we're going to start cleaning. Second. So, anytime you see a question and it shows you the circumference, or it shows you the diameter, say if it shows you the diameter. If it says, let's say if they label the diameter, they write 9, wink, wink. They show you the number 9, then you're simply going to say circumference is equal to pi times that diameter. So all you do, if they show you the diameter and they want the circumference, you just hit pi, or 3.14, times diameter. In this case, you would hit pi times 9, and you'd get an answer. Write down what you get. I'm not going to give you the answer, but I pretty much told you what to type in the calculator. Pi times 9. Next. Sometimes they won't give you the diameter or the circumference. They'll give you something else. It's another idea. It's called the radius. I accidentally slipped the word radius earlier in this video, but I'm focusing on now the idea of the radius. In my class, I asked my students if the word radius reminded them of anything, if they'd ever heard the word radius before. I always compare it to a radar, because the radius makes your circle look like a radar you see in a movie or in a video game. You'll see radars in some video games. It is a line defined by the middle, the line going out to the edge. This is the radius. I don't think that'll show up clearly. Good enough. That's the radius. You may have seen a radar where this line swings around. I asked my students if the word radius reminded them of anything, and one student said a blast radius. That's a term used when talking about explosives. Let's say if an explosive were to detonate here, a lot of times you'd see like a crater or a hole in the shape of a circle. And the radius is the blast radius. Is simply the distance from the center to the edge. Right? So that's what a radius is. A radius is simply a measurement from the center to the edge. A radar tells you what all is within a certain distance of where you are. So everything within, let's say, however much my radius is. And that arm swings around and finds everything that is that distance away from you. So that's what a radius is. It's the distance from the center to the edge. Now, a thing to know about the radius is, if you were to, say, look at the radius here and the radius there, these two lines together would make your diameter. So your radius is equal to 2 times the diameter. Okay? So if you're doing a problem and they show you the radius, let's say maybe they tell you the radius is 7. Wink, wink. I'm not very good at winking. If they tell you the radius is 7, you would simply double that length. The full length, that diameter. No, I'm very sorry. Radius is not 2 times diameter. Radius is half the diameter. I'm very sorry. I should not have done that. Diameter divided by 2. You can say the diameter is the radius times 2. I'm very sorry about that. The diameter, it seemed funny when I was writing it. I'm sorry. The radius is the diameter divided by 2. The diameter is a radius times 2. So, if you take a radius, we get the diameter. You take your diameter, slice it in half, you'll get the radius. That's how we find radius from diameter or diameter from radius. Now that means we can also say diameter is r times 2. You can say the circumference of any circle is 2 times r, that's my diameter, times pi. Okay? So, say it's 7, each do 7 times 2, which is 14, times pi to get your answer. Lastly, I'm going to talk about a final kind of question you may see. Sometimes they will not give you the radius or the diameter. They will only give you the circumference. They will want the other 2 values. In this event, I'm making my easel walk around. There. Pardon. Easel calibration. Now, let's say they gave you a circumference and they want to know the diameter or they want to know the radius. And let's say they tell you the diameter, or they tell you the circumference is 628. Okay? You'll actually find this question on the 3rd page of the Finding Circumference assignment in Schoology. Let's say the circumference is 628 feet. In the same way, we can say that circumference equals pi times the diameter. You can find the diameter by getting it by itself. So, divide both sides by pi. See, the diameter is circumference divided by pi. So, circumference is 628. To find the diameter, we simply do 628 divided by pi. And that will give you, type it into your calculator, well, not directly, but it is estimates, it rounds to about 200. Okay? So diameter is equal to 200. And if this distance is 200, then that means that the radius, this part, would only be 100. So, they give you the circumference, divide by pi to get the diameter. Remember, your circumference, your distance around, will always be longer than your diameter, your distance across. So divide your circumference by pi to get down to that diameter. If they give you diameter, multiply by pi to get the circumference. Okay? You just simply do times pi to get circumference. You divide it by pi to get diameter. Well, I'm not going to walk through each of these questions for you. The purpose of that assignment is to do a little bit of some independent practice. So work independently on your own. Do as much of it as you can. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or come into tutoring, which is from Wednesdays and Thursdays from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Okay? So thank you for watching. I'm always here for help. Reach out anytime. I've never been upset at a genuine question. Thank you, and you have a good day.